Did you know that Iran, the modern-day nation of ancient Persia, is mentioned over 30 times in the Bible and plays a pivotal role in both Christian and Islamic prophecies? While the world focuses on Israel, Egypt, and Babylon, Iran quietly stands at the crossroads of history and destiny, a nation that may hold the key to unfolding events that affect us all. With over 83 million people and a strategic position in the Middle East, Iran is not just a geopolitical powerhouse, but could be the chosen nation that bridges the past and the future in God's divine plan. Imagine a nation that freed the Jewish people from captivity, was prophesied by name over a century before its rise, and is slated to be a significant player in end-time events. What if understanding Iran's biblical significance could unlock mysteries that have puzzled scholars for generations? This is a journey that could reshape your understanding of history, prophecy, and the unfolding divine narrative. Many instantly think of Israel, Egypt, and Babylon when it comes to biblical nations. However, Iran's biblical significance is often overlooked, despite its consistent role in prophecies and its monumental influence on God's people. From the powerful leadership of Cyrus the Great, who liberated the Jews from Babylonian captivity, to the presence of Persian influence in end-time prophecies, Iran's story is interwoven throughout the Bible. In the next few minutes, we will uncover how Iran's past and future play pivotal roles in God's divine plan, ensuring that this nation's involvement is critical to the fulfillment of biblical prophecies. According to Genesis, after the Great Flood, humanity was repopulated through Noah's 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. From Japheth came the Indo-European peoples, including the ancestors of the Iranian nation. Japheth's descendants, including the Medes, often called Mada, laid the foundations for the peoples of Iran. The lineage recorded in Genesis 10 is key to understanding the biblical origins of various nations, including those that formed the Persian Empire. This lineage is not just a record of genealogy. It is a testament to the spread of humanity and the development of civilizations that would later play crucial roles in biblical history. The Medes and Persians eventually merged, forming what would become one of the greatest empires of the ancient world. Their mention in the Bible highlights their importance in fulfilling God's divine plan, especially during Israel's exile and return. The Medes, initially known for their fierce warrior culture, combined with the administrative and cultural sophistication of the Persians to create an empire that would be instrumental in shaping the ancient world. The union of these peoples led to the formation of the Medo-Persian Empire, a powerful force that shaped biblical history by being instruments in God's narrative. The rise of the Medo-Persian Empire was not merely a political event. It was a divinely orchestrated turning point that set the stage for the fulfillment of key biblical prophecies, including the return of the Jewish people to their homeland. Cyrus the Great, the leader of the Medes and Persians, formed a unified empire that would stretch across the known world. His reign marked a turning point for the exiled Israelites and fulfilled Isaiah's prophecy about their return to Jerusalem. Cyrus was not only a brilliant military strategist, but also a visionary leader who established a model of governance that allowed conquered peoples, including the Israelites, to maintain their cultures and religious practices. This policy of tolerance and respect for local traditions endeared Cyrus to his subjects and earned him a unique place in biblical history as a liberator chosen by God. The Persian Empire, under Cyrus's leadership, expanded rapidly, becoming the largest empire of its time. This geographical expansion allowed Persia to have direct influence over the lives of the Israelites and the fulfillment of God's promises. Cyrus's decree, as documented in the book of Ezra, enabled the Jewish people to return to Jerusalem and rebuild their temple, an act that symbolized the restoration of their covenant relationship with God. This decree was a monumental event in Jewish history, marking the end of the Babylonian exile and the beginning of a new chapter for the people of Israel. The Persian Empire's reach extended from the Indus River in the east to North Africa in the west, encompassing many nations, including Israel, Babylon, and Egypt. By conquering Babylon, Persia took control over the land of Israel and the Jewish exiles. This was part of God's plan for restoring his people to their land, allowing them to rebuild the temple and re-establish their worship. The role of Persia in facilitating the return of the Israelites highlights how God can use even foreign powers to accomplish his divine purposes. Cyrus's respect for the God of Israel and his willingness to support the rebuilding of the temple demonstrates the profound impact that Persia had on the spiritual and cultural restoration of the Jewish people. Cyrus' leadership also demonstrated the power of God's sovereignty over rulers who did not necessarily acknowledge him as the one true God. The prophecy in Isaiah 45 refers to Cyrus as God's anointed, a title typically reserved for Israelite kings and priests. This emphasizes how God chose Cyrus, a foreign king, to carry out his will. Cyrus's actions showed that God's plans are not confined to those who worship him directly, but can involve anyone, regardless of their faith or background, in the execution of his divine purpose. In Isaiah 44:28, God refers to Cyrus by name, declaring that he would decree the rebuilding of Jerusalem. This prophecy was made over a century before Cyrus's birth, underscoring the divine orchestration of events. The specificity of Isaiah's prophecy regarding Cyrus is one of the most remarkable examples of predictive prophecy in the Bible, serving as a powerful reminder that God is in control of history. Cyrus's decree, recorded in the book of Ezra, allowed the exiled Jews to return to their homeland and rebuild the temple in Jerusalem. This act of liberation was pivotal in Jewish history and in fulfilling God's covenant promises. The return to Jerusalem was not just a political event. It was a spiritual restoration, a rekindling of hope among God's people who had suffered under the Babylonian captivity. Cyrus's role demonstrates that God is sovereign over all rulers, not just those who acknowledge him. God's ability to use Cyrus for his purposes serves as a powerful reminder of his control over world events. Cyrus was called by God to be a shepherd to his people, and through his actions, we see how God can use unlikely individuals to fulfill his plans. Cyrus's reign illustrates that no matter how distant a ruler or nation may seem from God, they are still within his grasp and can be instrumental in the fulfillment of his divine will. The Book of Esther is set during the reign of King Xerxes I, one of the kings of Persia. This period illustrates the interplay between divine providence and political power in the Persian Empire. The story of Esther is a remarkable account of how God uses individuals in powerful positions to fulfill his purposes, even when his name is not explicitly mentioned in the narrative. The entire book demonstrates the hidden hand of God working behind the scenes, orchestrating events to bring about deliverance for his people. Haman, a high-ranking official in Xerxes' court, plotted to exterminate the Jews throughout the Persian Empire. His hatred for the Jews stemmed from a long-standing animosity and personal vendetta, particularly against Mordecai, Esther's cousin, who refused to bow to him. This led to Haman convincing King Xerxes to issue a decree for the destruction of all Jews in the empire, casting lots, or Purim, to determine the date of the genocide. But Queen Esther, a Jew herself, used her position to intervene on behalf of her people. Despite the immense risk to her own life, since approaching the king without being summoned could result in her death, Esther chose to act. She fasted, prayed, and then approached King Xerxes, inviting him and Haman to a series of banquets. During the second banquet, Esther revealed her Jewish identity and exposed Haman's plot to annihilate her people. The king, enraged by Haman's betrayal, ordered Haman to be executed on the very gallows that Haman had prepared for Mordecai. Furthermore, a new decree was issued, allowing the Jews to defend themselves against their enemies. Through Esther's courageous actions and Mordecai's wisdom, the decree was reversed, and the Jews were saved from destruction. This event is commemorated in the annual celebration of Purim, highlighting God's providence and protection. The story of Esther is not just about political intrigue and royal decrees. It is about the courage to stand up for what is right, even in the face of great danger. It is a testament to how God can use seemingly ordinary people in extraordinary ways to fulfill his plans. Esther's bravery and willingness to risk her life for her people serve as an enduring example of faith and courage. The celebration of Purim serves as a reminder of the power of divine providence and the importance of trusting in God's plan, even when his presence is not immediately visible. Esther's story also highlights how God works through the faithful actions of individuals, and it inspires believers to trust that God is always working for the good of his people, even when his presence is hidden. In Nebuchadnezzar's dream, as recorded in Daniel chapter 2, the statue's silver chest and arms represent the Medo-Persian Empire. This imagery not only symbolizes the transition of power from Babylon to Persia, but also signifies Persia's role as a divinely appointed successor in the sequence of empires under God's sovereign plan. The transition from the head of gold, Babylon, to the chest and arms of silver, Medo-Persia, shows the continuity of God's control over the rise and fall of empires, with each kingdom serving a purpose in the unfolding narrative of his divine will. Daniel's vision of the four beasts, found in Daniel chapter 7, includes a second beast, which is depicted as a bear. This bear, representing the Medo-Persian Empire, is shown raised up on one side, with 3 ribs in its mouth. The uneven posture of the bear symbolizes the dual nature of the empire, with Persia being stronger than Media, while the 3 ribs likely represent the major conquests of the empire: Babylon, Lydia, and Egypt. This imagery underscores Persia's dominance and the expansiveness of its rule, fulfilling God's purpose in reshaping the ancient world. The rise of Persia is further depicted in Daniel's vision of the ram with 2 horns, as detailed in Daniel chapter 8. The ram, with one horn longer than the other, symbolizes the unity of the Medes and Persians, with the longer horn representing the greater strength of Persia. The ram's unstoppable advance to the west, north, and south highlights the remarkable military successes of the Persian Empire, which God allowed to flourish for a time to accomplish his purposes, including the liberation of the Jewish people from Babylonian captivity. Ezekiel's prophecy of the war of Gog and Magog, found in Ezekiel chapters 38 and 39, includes Persia, modern-day Iran, as a key participant. This end-time conflict, which involves a coalition of nations led by Gog, illustrates Persia's ongoing role in biblical prophecy and points to the nation's significance in future world events. Persia's inclusion in this prophecy demonstrates that its influence is not confined to the past, but will play a crucial part in the climactic events of history. The role of Persia in this future battle serves as a reminder of the interconnectedness of ancient prophecies and modern geopolitical dynamics, emphasizing that God's plan transcends time and continues to unfold according to his sovereign will. The prophecies involving Persia also indicate that God's control over nations extends beyond Israel to encompass all of humanity. By including Persia in these visions, the Bible underscores that every nation plays a role in God's overarching plan. Persia's place in end-time prophecy shows how historical powers continue to be relevant in the divine narrative, connecting past events to future fulfillment. The Magi who visited Jesus at his birth were likely of Persian origin. These wise men, known for their knowledge of astronomy and ancient prophecies, are believed to have been Zoroastrian priests from Persia. Their recognition of Jesus' significance and their journey to Bethlehem demonstrate the influence of Persian culture, spirituality, and knowledge on early Christian history. The Magi's gifts, gold, frankincense, and myrrh, were not only valuable, but also symbolically significant, reflecting Jesus' kingship, divinity, and eventual suffering. The fact that these men traveled such a great distance, guided by a star, shows the profound impact that Persian wisdom and spiritual seeking had on early Christianity. The story of the Magi represents the acknowledgement of Jesus as king by nations beyond Israel, highlighting the universal nature of his mission. Persia's administrative systems and cultural achievements influenced subsequent empires, including the Roman Empire. The Persian model of governance, with its emphasis on efficient administration and respect for local customs provided a blueprint that many later empires adopted. Their policies of tolerance allowed for the flourishing of Jewish communities within the empire, which later became crucial for the spread of Christianity. The freedom granted to Jewish exiles under Persian rule meant that Jewish religious and cultural practices were preserved, setting the stage for the emergence of early Christian thought. Under Persian rule, Jewish communities flourished, and the groundwork was laid for the spread of the gospel during the Roman era. The Persian Empire's infrastructure, such as the Royal Road, facilitated communication and travel across vast distances, which indirectly benefited the later missionary journeys of early Christians. The stability and prosperity of Jewish communities under Persian rule ensured that Jewish teachings and scriptures were maintained and disseminated, ultimately contributing to the spread of the gospel message. Persia's legacy, therefore, extends beyond its political influence. It played an essential role in preserving the cultural and religious heritage that would form the foundation of early Christianity. Furthermore, the influence of Zoroastrianism, Persia's main religion during its imperial zenith, can be seen in the religious concepts that influenced early Judaism and Christianity. Ideas such as the duality of good and evil, the existence of a cosmic struggle, and the belief in a final judgment have parallels in Zoroastrian thought. While Judaism and Christianity are distinct from Zoroastrianism, the interaction between these faiths during the Persian period undoubtedly left an imprint on the development of religious ideas in the region. Many theologians believe that Iran will play a significant role in end-time events, as indicated in the prophecies of Ezekiel. The mention of Persia in Ezekiel 38 to 39 as part of the coalition led by Gog in the War of Gog and Magog highlights the enduring significance of this nation. Its strategic location, situated at the crossroads of Asia, the Middle East and Europe, has made Iran a focal point of global power struggles for centuries. This strategic importance aligns with its prophesied role in future conflicts that may shape the course of world history. Iran's current geopolitical landscape is marked by its growing influence in the region, its alliances with other nations, and its development of military capabilities. These developments have made Iran a central figure in the balance of power in the Middle East. The ongoing tensions between Iran and Israel are often seen through a biblical lens, as part of the larger narrative of conflict between God's chosen people and their adversaries. The animosity between these two nations, which has deep historical and ideological roots, mirrors the conflicts described in the prophetic texts. These tensions may indeed be setting the stage for the fulfillment of end-time prophecies, with Iran's actions and alliances playing a pivotal role in shaping the dynamics of the region. Furthermore, Iran's alliances with nations like Russia and its influence in Syria and Lebanon have also been viewed as significant in the context of biblical prophecy. These alliances could be interpreted as part of the coalition described in Ezekiel, suggesting a convergence of modern geopolitical realities with ancient prophetic visions. As such, Iran's role in these alliances, its strategic actions, and its stance against Israel all contribute to the anticipation of its involvement in the climactic events foreseen in the Bible. Iran's influence over proxy groups and its strategic military positioning indicate a scenario in which it could be a key player in a larger conflict that has prophetic implications, adding another layer to the understanding of its biblical significance. From its ancient origins to its pivotal role in biblical prophecies, Persia has played a critical role in shaping the destiny of God's people. Its influence extends from the pages of the Old Testament to the prophecies that are yet to be fulfilled. The story of Persia is ultimately a testament to God's sovereignty over nations. He raises up kings and empires and brings them down, all to accomplish his divine purposes and ensure the fulfillment of his promises. In light of Persia's significant role in biblical history, it is important to view modern events within the larger biblical narrative. Understanding Persia's role helps us see God's hand in history and his ongoing plan for the world. The story of Persia invites us to dig deeper into biblical prophecy. By studying God's word, we can better understand His plan for the nations and our place within it. As we witness the unfolding of events in the Middle East, we are encouraged to reflect on these occurrences through a faith-based perspective, recognizing God's sovereignty over all.